This is Dr. Jonas Moses. We are on the floor at McCormick Place here in Chicago, Illinois, at the American College of Cardiology Convention. We are talking to various vendors here at the exhibition hall. With me right now, Mr. John Meyers. John, you are the regional sales coordinator for ANSAR Medical Technologies. That's true. Thank you very much for joining us, John. I sure appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
John, tell me a little bit about the background of your company. I know that you told me before that your company's been around for quite some time, but the technology is only really recently been released in the marketplace. How long has it been around, and what's the technology?
The technology's been in development for over 25 years. It's been put together by the people at MIT and Harvard. There are a bunch of bioengineers who actually came up with the software. And it's only been about since 2004 that we started selling it commercially to doctors and hospitals.
So for the previous 20-plus years, it was in clinical trial?
Most of that was through research and development and clinical trials.
What kinds of populations were they looking at, do you know?
The 1,000-patient population test was one that we did. A lot of stuff in the Framingham Heart Study, various studies with Walter Reed Organization, with the Army.
What patient populations are we looking at?
Any doctors who see diabetics, hypertensives, geriatrics, people with sleep apnea, syncope, they qualify to be tested for our test. Anybody who's being prescribed beta blockers or calcium channel blockers, they're qualified to be tested.
What's the idea behind the technology?
The goal of the technology is to measure both branches of your autonomic nervous system. We're the only technology on the market with a patent to test both branches both independently and simultaneously. And what we've done is the people at MIT, they've developed the software that can tease apart both branches with heart rate variability and respiration. And the goal of the test is to find out where people's levels are, whether they're sympathetic driven or parasympathetic driven. And then the end goal of that is to put them back into balance. Just like anything in life, if you have balance, you'll feel better.
The net is, after doing this examination, they're able to, change the medicine?
Through tighter titration of medicine, changes in lifestyle, just by being able to customize medicine and further look into why they don't feel as well as they could. Say they're parasympathetic dominant, so by changing the medication, bring the sympathetics back up, the person's going to start feeling a lot better.
Now, you did discuss a case study with me, and perhaps you could go through that, because it was an interesting case, because the patient, as you described, was in relatively good health, apparent health, when you first tested him.
Yeah, the patient was a 47-year-old. He had actually ran a marathon. It was a week or 2 weeks before we had the test on him. Family guy, didn't drink, didn't smoke, took care of himself, exercised. We did the test, the 15.5 non-invasive procedure, and realized that this gentleman was at serious risk of CAN, which is cardiovascular autonomic neuropathy. Now, the unfortunate thing about this is that it's asymptomatic, and by the time that someone would have realized it, he could have possibly died of sudden death through a cardiac episode or developed neuropathy, and at that point, there's not much you can do. So this guy was, about 6 foot tall, 180 pounds, looked in great shape, ran a marathon, ate healthy, but, he had no symptoms of being in neuropathy. The test was done, showed that he was in CAN. He was sent right to a cardiologist. Cardiologist sent him right to the emergency room. And we'd like to think that our technology saved his life. He could have died within a few after that, unbeknownst to him.
How many physicians or practices are currently using this technology?
Since 2004, we have about 800 units installed in the United States and around the world.
Oh, you mentioned that you have units in other countries. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Sure. We have a couple units placed in Hong Kong. We just put one in Bulgaria. We have some in France and some in London right now.
So ideally, you want to. This is a great place for you to get out the word, because you have foreign visitors. I do want to point out very quickly that because this convention, this is the ACC, the American Cardiological Convention, does draw attendees from all over the world. The outreach from the ACC is worldwide, in fact. So it's important to vendors like this that the McCormick Place is presenting these exhibits. Is your company experiencing growth?
Yeah, we've actually grown at 33% last year. We're trying to double every year. It's an uphill battle with any startup company, but in the end, our goal is to grow by 50% every year. It's very difficult. We're not very well known, and hopefully, just by doing conventions like this and getting out in front of people, by educating them, we don't even need to sell it. They should be compelled to buy.
How many other companies are putting out a similar product?
I wouldn't say that we have any direct competition because we're the only technology on the market with FDA 501(k) clearance to measure both branches independently and simultaneously. Other technologies are able to measure either the parasympathetic or the sympathetic, but not both at the same time. And if they claim to do it, they're giving mixed measures.
And are you getting Medicare reimbursements for these?
Yes, we are. The average Medicare reimbursement rate in the United States is $162. That's throughout all 50 states. And Medicare actually increased our rates for the 7th consecutive year.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. I surely appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
John, and John is with ANSAR Medical Technologies.
Correct.
You are watching In Time TV's On the Edge. I'm Dr. Jonas Moses. We are at McCormick Place in Chicago, Illinois. We're on the convention hall floor and speaking to vendors this hour.